One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Good evening, everybody. So we got a busy evening tonight, so I'm going to move fast. So initially here, I'm going to tell you what happened after President Trump got off the air. We're going to talk about that. We've got a press conference with J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson. They're afraid. They big mad. It's about to go down big time. And I'll say it again, if you haven't realized that we are in a civil war, tonight you will most assuredly get the punctuation mark. You will get the big exclamation point. We are there. Be ready. This is it. It's on. You are going to be looking at a government that is looking at fighting the federal government. A local government looking to fight a federal government. This doesn't look good. The people want change. The people are demanding change. You've already seen the numbers. 55, 58 people were shot. 7 people or 8 people got killed. And the people in Chicago, the mayor, the governor, the lieutenant governor, are all pretending like everything's fine and we don't need Trump. And they're doing everything they can to rile people up. Got to make you wonder. As you're going to hear them talk, you're going to wonder to yourself, what is it that these people are so terrified of? And then at 8:30, I've got an interview with a prominent psychotherapist who's been on Fox News, and I'm going to talk to him about a few things relative to what happened with the Minnesota shooting. We're going to talk about why are these kids into communism, and hopefully this will be a really enlightening interview. And then at about, when we're done talking, I guess he's from here 8:30 to 9. Then at 9 o'clock, we're going to jump over to Rumble. And when we jump over to Rumble, we are then going to show the movie Sound of Freedom. I was able to get it. So we have Sound of Freedom all queued up. So let me just tell you a little bit about that movie when we jump over. It is going to strike to the core of you in regards to this child stuff that's been going on, which today some more information came out about Epstein, and Anna Paulina Luna and a bunch of other people came out and goes, much worse than we even imagined. There's a lot going on, so the timeliness of showing this movie tonight is dead on. Dead on. But without further ado, let's find out here and let's talk about what's going on in Chi-Town, Chirac. Can we call it that?
You're going to hear people, especially this past weekend, 54 shot, 7 dead.
Yeah.
They're going to say the city's not safe. Would you ask your friends to ride the L after midnight or after, 9 o'clock at night even to come down to the city from O'Hare?
Look, big cities have crime. There's no doubt about it.
That was an answer that somebody went to try and prop him up. They tried to give him an opportunity. Here's a softball. And the answer that the governor of Illinois said is, big cities have crime. You're just going to have to deal with it, people in Chicago. That's how it is. They can't help you. They're not even trying to help you. Get used to it. That specifically came out of his mouth. Hey, big cities have crime. Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. I didn't know most big cities have people 50, 60 shot in a weekend on an ongoing basis. This is the leadership in Illinois. And so what I believe we're looking at, because none of this makes sense. Even some of you guys who just saw that got to go, what do you mean? Many people live in big cities. Don't have 60 shootings in a weekend on an ongoing basis. What are you talking about? Well, here's my hunch, my surmising of the situation. I think we are watching the last vestiges, or one of the last vestiges of the deep state. The deep state machine is being disrupted all over. And these inner cities are one of those things, one of the cogs in the wheel that drives the deep state. The wheels on the bus go round and round. And those wheels are the inner cities. They're havens for crime. The mayors and governors don't even attempt to stop it. And so somebody's pockets are being buttered through these inner cities. There's no way you could walk around Chicago and go, yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So, or the governor going, yeah, it's a big city. Big cities have this kind of problem. Do something about it. When Rudy Giuliani gets out the hospital, call him. Hey, what did you do to New York? How did you clean up New York City? You don't just say, that's the way it is. That's how it is. Deal with it. That's what the Democrats are saying to people right now. And so President Trump, obviously, he's coming. You can't stop him. The Andrew Jacksonian mode is engaged. He's coming.
Mind up on Chicago, though?
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When we lose, when 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks, and 75 are shot with bullets. So let me tell you a little story about a place called D.C., District of Columbia, right here where we are. It's now a safe zone. We have no crime. It's in such great shape. You can go and actually walk with your children, your wife, your husband. You can walk right down the middle of the street. You're not going to be shot, Peter. You're safe. Everyone likes you anyway. They probably wouldn't do it. But it's so dangerous. And there are people in this audience that you've suffered greatly. There are people in this audience that have been mugged and hurt badly, and they don't want to talk about it. Maybe you were very brave in talking about it. You made quite an impression on a lot of people. I appreciate it. But there were other people in this room that have been hurt very badly.
He was talking about, if you guys watched the press conference with me last week, he's talking about one of the reporters talked about how she was mugged at gunpoint in Washington, D.C., and she shared her story in the Oval Office or wherever they were having the press conference. I think it was a cabinet room. And none of the people in the media could approach her. Nobody could come to her and say, why'd you say that? She was telling her own personal story, and it obviously struck President Trump. And so he knows what's happening in these inner cities. He's seen the cleanup, the before and after picture, and he's like, why wouldn't we go and save people's lives? Nobody in the audience there could have a comeback. Why would you not, if you had the ability to save people's lives, would you not save them? It's a very simple question. Many of us have come upon accidents, and we've tried to help because it's our natural, innate sense. Wow, there's somebody in distress. Somebody needs our help. What do? We are humans. We try to help. So I'm almost thinking that these people in Chicago and some of these inner cities are either inhuman or they've been told, look the other way and shut up and take your check. There's no way a reasonably thinking human can see people killed and just go, that's just how it is. But that's what they're saying. And that's what they've been saying. They're trying not to have anybody see what's going on.
Walking down the street in D.C. Washington, D.C. is a safe zone right now. It's a safe city. The restaurants are open. They're booming. You can't get a restaurant. New restaurants are announcing that they're going to be open. This took place in 12 days. Now it's 15 days, but 3 days ago it became what's known as a safe zone. It's a safe city. And this city was really bad. Really.
So as you heard him say that this afternoon, that now you can't even get a seat in some of these restaurants, and more restaurants are opening, and businesses are booming again, and it only's been 12 or 14 days. Again, the question is, why is your shit all boarded up? Does nobody want to do business in your inner city? Why do people have to be stepping over poop and the person doing the poop? Why do businesses have to lock up toothpaste? Why do people have to make sure they're out of the area before it gets dark? You've surrendered your cities. You've surrendered your population. And you're saying, I can't take care of it. So why wouldn't you want help? Makes no sense.
Bad. We took 1,600 people out, hardcore criminals that will not be coming back anytime soon. And we're very proud of it. You know, to have our nation's capital lose every week, you know, it was like years, many years, where every single week somebody was killed for many consecutive weeks. This went on for years. And then
it has been so prevalent, as my dog is barking in the background, it has been so prevalent, most of the media doesn't even cover. It's no longer news. And that's what Pritzker pretty much said. Hey, big cities have crime. So it's no big deal that people are getting shot and killed, especially because they're black people. As long as it's black on black, yeah, we'll just keep it in the cities. That's fine. We'll let them deal with it. We're too busy making sure, you know, Wrigley Stadium and all these places, to make sure that's taken care of. Those people in the hood, it's a big city. They'll get over it. And if they don't, that's too bad. We don't care. And it's not even news.
we had last week, it was announced that nobody was killed last week. And I made that announcement in front of a very distinguished leader of a country. And I'm saying proudly, ladies and gentlemen, nobody was killed in Washington, D.C. this week. He looked at me like, what's that all about? I say, yeah, we have a little bit of a crime problem, and we don't have a crime problem in Washington anymore. And the mayor has been very helpful, and the police commission has been very helpful, and it's been a great team. And I would love to have Governor Pritzker call me. I'd gain respect for him.
Okay, so he's done it in Washington. We've got a repair guy here, so that's why Midas is barking. He's done it in Washington. He's got the resume. It's visible for everybody to see. Why would Chicago be fighting that? And that's a question every single reporter should be saying. Hey, listen, we just saw it happen. We have the results. It's fine. People are back out. They're enjoying themselves. Why wouldn't you want this? None of them ever answer it, that's for sure. They come back with stuff, we need more money. You've been asking for money for 20, 30 years. You've been spending money for 20 or 30 years. You've had every opportunity. The opportunities have expired. You are no longer capable, or don't want to, do the job that's in front of you. So why wouldn't you want someone's help? It doesn't make any sense unless you realize what they actually are doing. Because that's the only thing that makes sense. You need this stuff this way. You have to have this crime as a cover for what you're doing in the neighborhood.
And say, we do have a problem, and we'd love you to send in the troops, because you know what? The people, they have to be protected. I saw it today on one of your networks, not a friendly network, except really the opposite, I would say, very unfriendly network. And they interviewed about 12 people on this morning. Most of them were African American, who were black. And they were saying, please, please, please let the president send in. These were people from Chicago. Please, we need help. We need help. We can't walk outside. We're petrified. If the governor of Illinois would call me up, I would love to do it. Now, we're going to do it anyway. We have the right to do it because I have an obligation to protect this country. And that includes Baltimore. I saw where Governor Moore was asking me to take a walk down the street of Baltimore. Well, Baltimore is a very unsafe place. It's rated number 4 in the city, one of the most unsafe places anywhere in the world. But, you know, we took care of it. This was a beautiful thing.
You have to ask yourself, why today are people just hearing about this? Why is he making the news by even talking about it? That's when you realize that the media has been completely complicit in all of this. It's been talked about in the local media. The national media doesn't touch it. So now you know who's being protected. Because if they wanted to have the other people shut up, they would tell them too. But it hasn't filtered down to them. It's the national media who won't touch it. Shh, don't talk about it. Don't ever talk about what's going on in a hood.
And in Washington, because we showed that it could be done. And this wasn't just sending big, strong guys, and they are big and they are strong. You know, we had a great decision from the Supreme Court that had to do with sort of talent. It had to do with you are put down based on merit. You can hire based on merit. So merit for a soldier or for a policeman is strong, physically fit, having a certain ability, not a person that is woke and got the job through woke, but wasn't strong enough to lift a gun out of the holster, et cetera, et cetera. No, I looked at the police. As you know, last week I went over, we had a meeting there had to be 300 people, and they were all very impressive looking. And when the bad guys see them, they're not going to do a thing. And so I'm very proud of Washington. It serves as a template. And we're going to do it elsewhere. But Chicago.
See, that's what scares them too. We're going to use this as a template. You screwed up and let us learn. Now we know what to do. We know how to attack these areas. We know how to make these people go back into their holes. And we know how to keep them in their holes because we know where the holes are. So now we didn't need to do law enforcement. We just needed to tell law enforcement, there's a hole. There's one of your problems. Just look right there. Oh, there's another one we found. Take care of this. And then it becomes very easy on the law enforcement application of everything. The police, for some reason, if they didn't know, didn't even know how to find these guys, now they're being told, there's your problem. Right there. Fix that. And of course, the police are like, okay, now we don't have any excuse. We've been told how to shut these people down. It's pretty simple.
Is certainly going to be high. I would love to have him call. I would love the governor of Illinois. I'd be honored to take his call. All he has to do is say, sir, we need help. It's out of control. And everyone knows it is. He's not kidding anyone. I would love to have, I would say, Governor Moore call, because I watched him over the weekend trying to explain that Baltimore, what they need is housing. No, they don't need housing. They need to get rid of the criminals. He's a hard...
I love how he said that. Oh, yeah, we need more affordable housing. That'll stop people from shooting each other. Are they shooting to take over their apartment? Because I could see if what you're saying is they're climbing over people and shooting the people who live here, so now we have a vacancy. No, that's not what they're doing. Affordable housing. So, see, they're thinking, hey, listen, if the people had, free bread and free bus passes and free housing, then they wouldn't have to go out there and, shoot people. They don't have to be gangbangers if we give them everything. That is a white flag if I've ever heard one. You are absolutely telling everybody we can't control these people in our neighborhood. And so we feed them free stuff to shut them up. And then guess what happens? You run out of free stuff or you don't have enough free stuff and they're right back doing what they're doing. That's what the mentality has been in the black community for so long. Let's throw them some crumbs here and it'll keep them quiet for a while. But you never go after the people who because if you live there, you know who the knuckleheads are, but they don't do it.
Poor criminals. We took many people off the streets of Washington, D.C. They're hardcore. They're not going to be good. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They were born to be criminals.
Now, see, the left doesn't like that. Ooh, no. Did Trump just say these people are born to be criminals? Well, let's talk about that. Can we? You want to talk about it? Because I know, and many people I've talked to know, that this has been a generational spawning. The same people, for the most part, who were troublemakers back in the day are still troublemakers today. They just became generational. They don't want you to hear this. This is third rail stuff for the Democrats. It is attacking their base. They know it. They absolutely know it.
They were born to be criminals, and they're tough and mean, and they'll cut your throat, and they won't even think about it the next day. They won't even remember that they did it. And we're not going to have those people.
All right. So after that, you all watched it. Most of you hopefully watched it with me. And President Trump got done. And right away, and it was already set up, Brandon Johnson, the lieutenant governor, whatever her name is, and J.B. Pritzker ran to the podium to discuss what President Trump just said. And what I find interesting in what you're about to hear is they know it's coming. They allude to the fact that they've got some sort of leaker. And it becomes quite apparent they can't stop him. And so what would you do at this point if you know the president's coming? What would you do? Well, they're doing just the opposite. They pull the Costanza.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First, I want to address the president's unhinged remarks a few minutes ago, begging me to call him. No, I will not call the president, asking him to send troops to Chicago. I've made that clear already. I know this has been an unsettling and difficult 10 days for the people of Chicago and Illinois. I'm going to do my best to share what we know as of today and speak frankly to the people of Illinois. Rumors have been swirling about what the White House has planned, and sifting fact from fiction has been increasingly difficult because Donald Trump's administration is not working in coordination with the city of Chicago, Cook County, or the state of Illinois.
Whose fault is that? You open your statement by saying, I won't call him. Ain't gonna happen. And then you come back with, but he's not working with us. Well, you can't really have one without the other. Again, you'll see a bunch of these points being made like, dude, how are you supposed to work with him if you refuse to call him? Why do you refuse to call him?
I want to take a moment at the top of my remarks to note how truly extraordinary it is for the federal government to refuse to coordinate with local law enforcement and government. Our state police regularly works with the FBI, the ATF, the DEA to go after gangs and gun runners and drug cartels. Under previous White House administrations, we regularly received notice and worked together on crime-fighting operations. This city has hosted major political conventions, flashpoint events like the NATO conference, and huge sports and entertainment coordination between all levels of government.
So I want you to notice one thing. President Trump talked for an hour and fielded questions without piece of paper one. He told you what he'd done in Washington. He tells you what he's going to do and capable of doing in Chicago and Baltimore. And he spoke authentically. This guy's reading every single word. Who's the puppet master, JB? Who's behind you that printed this stuff out and stuck their hand up your rear end and said, get out there and speak it? You're not even, there's no authenticity whatsoever. You are reading pages that somebody else printed out. If you felt so strongly about your community, you're telling me you couldn't address what he said directly from the heart and with your head for 25 or 30 minutes? You have to have every single word scripted? That's when I know. That's when I look at this and go, there's something really, really wrong here. The moment right now that you are needed most as a leader of your state, you can't perform. You're limp. You can't do anything except come out here and read some prepared remarks. Why? What are you afraid of saying? Maybe you're afraid of what you won't say, what you won't remember, what you won't cover, because you're not proficient. We know the guy standing next to you ain't.
Like the Democratic National Convention last year, even required a limited deployment of the Illinois National Guard for broad security purposes, including especially preventing terrorism. For that 4-day event, there were conversations and meetings that began 1 year before the convention between my office, the mayor's office, the county board president's office, CPD, state police, the FBI, the Secret Service, and the Department of Homeland Security. The mayor and I were briefed at the highest levels of government, and we pledged unwavering support in the effort to pull off a convention that kept attendees safe and protected the rights of all citizens to express their First Amendment rights. The convention was a true success because of that collaboration. Fighting crime requires coordination. We have experienced nothing like that over the past several days and weeks. On Saturday, the head of the Illinois State Police received a phone call from CBP's chief patrol agent, Gregory Bovino, indicating that ICE would be deploying to Chicago. It's the first outreach we have received from the Trump administration on this topic. Bovino was short on details and long on rhetoric. So in the absence of significant federal coordination, we've gathered information from unauthorized patriotic officials inside the government and from well-sourced reporters about Donald Trump's plan, which is to deploy armed military personnel to the streets of Chicago. I'm aware that the President of the United States likes to go on television and beg me to call and ask him for troops.
If you heard from different sources that this is what's getting ready to happen, wouldn't a normal person indeed at that point pick up the phone? If I knew that XYZ was going to happen in my business, I would want to pick up the phone and ask, what's going on? As you're listening to him, he's not, number one, he's not talking about the crime. I don't care about the Olympics. I don't care about the conventions. It has nothing to do with anything. They're killing people in the hood. And you and the buddy standing behind you won't address it. And then you're like, nobody's talking to us. Pick up the phone. Why are you expecting to be kowtowed to? You need the help. You don't feel like you need the help? Well, then guess what? The help's going to come take care of it. It's ridiculous.
This extraordinarily strange, as Chicago does not want troops on our streets. I also have experience asking the president for assistance, just to have the rug pulled out from underneath me when execution meets reality. I refuse to play a reality game show with Donald Trump again.
If I knew that a big, giant foe was coming my way, the last thing I'd want to do is continue to insult that foe. You're not asking for mercy, you're poking the bear. Reality TV. What was the first thing he said? Unhinged. That's when you know what they're trying to do here. They're trying to let the people, well, I don't know what people, think in their minds that, hey, we're about to be invaded by some foreign government. That's what he's saying. These guys with Trump are coming in, they're going to descend into Chicago. You need to do something about it, because I can't. And of course, there'll be enough white liberals running around. Oh my gosh, you've got military in the street and they've got masks on. But you're not talking to the people in the hood, because they're saying, thank you, help us.
What I want are the federal dollars that have been promised to Illinois and Chicago for violence prevention programs that have proven to work. That is money that Illinois taxpayers send to the federal government, and it's an insult to any and every citizen to suggest that any governor should have to beg the president of any political party for resources owed their people. I'd like to ask a question of my own, and it's one the press should be asking as well. When did we become a country where it's okay for the U.S. president to insist on national television that a state should call him to beg for anything? Especially.
Well, you know what? I'm pretty sure, since I've been through it many times, many times, that when a hurricane comes down through Florida, any part of Florida, the governor has to. That's the law. Hey, I just can't send all kinds of stuff. You have to request it. We see it every year. Hopefully not this year. Hopefully not this year. No, don't want it this year. But every time there's a hurricane, you've heard them say, well, Ron DeSantis, Joe Smith, Fred Jones, whatever the governor is declaring a state of emergency. And that state of emergency is to allow them to request federal assistance. And so this guy right here is BSing his way through this entire press conference. You can bet your butt the people in New Orleans will tell you, where's FEMA? Well, that's because you had to ask FEMA to come down. They blew it, they screwed up, but nonetheless, that's the process. You're upset that the president is coming into town, but at the same time, you're not willing to do the process, which is you have to ask. That's the law. And if you don't want to ask, you're expecting, hey, he can't come. And you're about to find out. You did the FO part, now you're about the FA part, now you're about to find out.
Something we don't want. Have we truly lost all sense of sanity in this nation, that we treat this as normal? As I have done.
I started this show with him saying big cities have crime. That's it. You're the one who's treating it as normal. There's people crying in the hood saying, please, I don't like living this way. And you're like, yeah, it's a big city. Forget about it. Deal with it. You're black. I don't care.
Since becoming governor, I've been reflecting on my responsibilities to the people of Illinois. And one of those duties is to share with the public exactly what we know. In the coming days, we expect to see what has played out in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. to happen here in Chicago. First, Donald Trump is positioning armed federal agents and staging military vehicles on federal property, such as the Great Lakes Naval Base. It is likely those agents will be with ICE, Customs and Border Patrol, the Department of Homeland Security, and other similarly situated federal agencies.
Be honest. Think to yourself, doesn't this sound like somebody who's letting the people in his constituency know they're about to be invaded? It's like watching a third world country and say, hey, matter of fact, in the Godfather movie, when they walk in and go, I'm sorry, but the rebellion forces are at the door and I must bid you adieu. Maybe he should bid everybody adieu. I gotta go. I'm useless here. I got nothing I can do, and the wolves are at the door. But somehow he's telling them this, but he's not telling people, he's coming because we had 58 people shot this past weekend. You know how Trump made sure the reporters knew? He hasn't mentioned it yet. As we're going through this, he has not mentioned that a whole bunch of people got shot and some people got killed. But he's letting you know the forces are lining up. Why do you think he's telling them that? He's trying to scare them. He's trying to scare them, saying they're about to invade you. Oh my God, the Russians are coming. But instead, it's Trump is coming. That's what they're trying to do. He sounds like he's a foreign leader of a country that's about to get invaded by, Nazis.
Many of these individuals are being relocated from Los Angeles for deployment in Chicago. We believe that staging that has already begun started yesterday and continues into today. Second, unidentifiable agents in unmarked vehicles with masks are planning to raid Latino communities and say they're targeting violent criminals. As we saw in Los Angeles, a very, very small percentage of the individuals they will target will be violent criminals.
And now you get to the part where they're really concerned about. Stop, Midas. They're upset because they might find a whole bunch of newcomers who ain't supposed to be here. Why are you bothering these people? They're from Chicago.
Instead, you're likely to see videos of them hauling away mothers and fathers, traveling to work or picking up their kids from school. Sometimes they will detain, handcuff, and haul away children. They are law-abiding individuals who pay taxes and contribute to the communities who feel safe going to work and attending mandatory immigration check-ins. In other words, they're following the law.
They're not supposed to be here. They missed that part. And the other thing you haven't said is the word Americans. They're not Americans. They're not supposed to be here. You're harboring them because you need them for whatever nefarious purposes.
We have reason to believe that Stephen Miller chose the month of September to come to Chicago because of celebrations around Mexican Independence Day that happen here every year.
Wouldn't want to interrupt the Mexican Independence Day. Wouldn't want anybody not having tacos and burritos who aren't supposed to be here. That's a big party here. The Mexican Independence Day. Is that supposed to make Americans go, man, that's just too bad. Oh, wait, why are they bothering the Mexican independent people? They're just trying to have a taco and a burrito in peace. It's all about crime and newcomers. He don't even say it. Not saying I'm protecting Americans. Doesn't matter. You black people don't count anymore. Kill off each other. We don't care. We got to celebrate Mexican independence.
It breaks my heart to report that we have been told ICE will try and disrupt community picnics and peaceful parades. Let's be clear, the terror and cruelty is the point, not the safety of anyone living here. Third.
Did it again. Anyone living here. It's not about the safety of Americans. Nope, didn't say it. Said anybody living here. This is why they have to read. Don't screw up. Make sure you say the right script. Say the words. Don't say Americans. Let everybody know for sure that what you're trying to do is protect people who aren't supposed to be here. That's your objective here, to make sure everybody knows who shouldn't be here. Hit the mattresses. They're about to come. That's what this press conference was. This was a blinking siren on the side of the street. They're coming. They're coming. To let them know, hit the mattresses. Go to your bolt holes. Wherever you need to do, watch out. Trump and his boys are coming for you. This is treasonous in my mind. You're trying to protect the people that shouldn't be here instead of your own constituents.
As lawful citizens exercise their First Amendment rights, Trump and his team will be looking for any excuse to put active duty military on our streets, supposedly to protect ICE. We have reason to believe that the Trump administration has already begun staging the Texas National Guard for deployment in Illinois. I want to be very clear on this point, and I want to speak directly to the press right now. We know before anything has happened here that the Trump plan is to use any excuse to deploy armed military personnel to Chicago. If someone flings a sandwich at an ICE agent, Trump will try and go on TV and declare an emergency in Chicago. I'm imploring everyone, if and when that happens, do not take the bait.
How are you going to tell the people in the hood to not stop doing it? Whatever you do, don't shoot at the shoot at the soldiers. This is almost a surrender speech. This is almost somebody just saying, "I can't help you. Big bad Trumpy, big bad orange man's coming, and I'm just letting you know so you can get the hell out of Dodge now. Hurry up." That's the functionality of this speech. I'm reading every single word because somebody told me I had to let you know it's coming. This is the Chicago hurricane warning. I don't know if it's going to be a Cat 3 or Cat 5, but it's coming, and it's coming pretty big. So be ready.
Lastly, after about 30 days or so, we believe that they will pick up all of those resources that they send here to Chicago and send them to the next city in a blue state, ignoring cities in red states with higher violent crime rates than we have. None of this is about fighting crime or making Chicago safer. None of it. For Trump, it's about testing his power and producing a political drama to cover up for his corruption. If you need any proof of this, that it's all a big show, well, look at who they're putting in charge. Gregory Bovino, a guy who desperately wants to be a reality TV star. He led the cruel adventures of ICE in Los Angeles, and he's been sent here to do the very same thing.
This is comedic. This guy's got nothing. Oh, this guy who they're sending here, Gregory Bovino, whoever he is, he just wants to be a reality TV star. You know what? You have the auditions being done weekly for cops. You know, the bad boys, but you ain't gonna do nothing. You know exactly who's shooting up your city, and you're worried about somebody else in ICE. Ask your residents. I don't get it. Your residents are begging for protection.
Look at his social media. He terrorizes innocent people and then posts on TikTok edits of himself. Apparently, this is a Trump administration norm, because the last time we saw staged major ICE raids in Chicago, they sent Dr. Phil here to embed with the agents so he could get views and likes for his social media. When Bovino pulled these stunts in LA, people got hurt. 2 innocent people died trying to flee his masked agents. ICE opened fire on a vehicle without dangerous provocation. They detained a disabled 15-year-old, drew their guns on him. They have ripped mothers away from their babies and handcuffed 10-year-olds. In Washington, they pulled over firefighters headed to fight an actual wildfire and detained 2 of the firefighters on duty in that effort.
So if you know this, and thank you for telling them, all of them, if you know this, why the hell aren't you going to self-deport? That sounds horrible, that your babies will be ripped from the arms of its mother. Now, I have full compassion for the child. The poor child had nothing to do with what's going on here, if it's your child. You decided to break the law to come here, and now you're asking for forgiveness. Well, and Trump gave it to you. Leave and come back the right way. Why is Pritzker not saying that? If you guys were here, you're not supposed to be here. Here's the best advice you can have. Go ahead and leave and apply to come back. I will facilitate it. Your home would be waiting here in Chicago once you get reapproved. So there's no crying and whining and everything else, and you don't have to worry about it. But that's not what he's doing. And I've seen some people in the chat, and they're like, I can't really stand what he's saying. This is important. You need to know what the enemy is doing. The enemy is making a plea to people to do something. Or in fact, maybe he's telling them to flee. In any event, this isn't cool what he's doing up here, because he's not even mentioning the problem. It's strictly focused on newcomers. That should tell you right away there's something really wrong in Chicago. I don't care about y'all. We got to make sure these newcomers stay here. That's very weird. Makes you go, yeah, that's kind of, think about that.
And they want to bring all of that to Chicago. During one of Bovino's raids, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol's own data indicated that their officers had no prior knowledge of criminal or immigration history for 77 of the 78 people arrested. Again, this is not about crime. More and more reports around these raids include people who were stopped or detained because of how they look, and not because of any threat to the public. If any of this was about dealing with the complexities of a broken immigration system, then Trump would have had the Congress Trump Republicans control write and pass a comprehensive immigration bill.
You see, that's another big lie that the Democrats try to say all the time. In fact, President Trump stopped somebody who said that same BS at the press conference today. They do not have 60 votes. And without 60 votes, no, it doesn't matter who's in power. Without that 60th vote, you can't get it done. He knows that. See, the many lies that he tells here lets you know he's protecting something. There's a deep, dark secret in Chicago. Are they cheating on votes? Or are they hiding other stuff with these newcomers? Are they making money and kickbacks from the cartel? Because everything thus far has been about, we need to protect the Mexicans. I hope you're seeing it. That's why it's important to watch, because it's not to help the people who live there. It's to help and secure and protect the people who aren't supposed to be there. So are they being pushed to say this by the cartel? I don't know.
Not only has that not happened, there is no talk of any such effort on the horizon. I know how Donald Trump thinks because I've been governor during both of his terms. He has surrounded himself with groveling yes men who are too weak to restrain his most violent and unhinged impulses, or who share those impulses.
Dude, turn around. Just turn around. Look at one of those that you're describing standing right behind you. He's within arm's length. He's a sycophant. He will do whatever he's told. And yet you're saying that Trump has surrounded himself with people who will say and do whatever he wants. That's a pot calling the kettle black if I ever seen one.
As a governor who cares about the well-being of my people, I can't live in a fantasy land where I pretend Trump is not tearing this country apart for personal greed and power. I have to deal in facts, and here they are. Crime is down in Chicago. Murders are down by almost 50% in the last 4 years.
To what? Say the number. Let people know. Oh, maybe 90 people aren't dead. We only got 50 people dead.
Shootings are down 57%. Robberies down 34%. Burglaries down 21%. Motor vehicle thefts down 26%.
From what? What is the acceptable number right now? How many carjackings are still okay? How many robberies are still okay? As you're trying to bring it down, as you're not fudging the numbers, as you're not reporting certain things, using your own numbers, what are they down to? 20% off of what? I've made the analogy, if you go on a diet and you weigh 400 pounds and you lose 50, that's a good start. It doesn't mean anything. And the media and everybody else falls for this BS. Oh, the numbers are down. To what? I'm pretty sure the 8 people who got killed this weekend don't want you telling them, well, you know what? It could have been worse. They could have killed a couple more people in your family. Be happy. It was only 8. Oh, I know, we were out, had a barbecue, and like 10 people got shot. Oh, it could have been worse. Could have been 15. Or the video I showed you where the referee was on his belly crawling. It could be worse. Could have had 4 or 5 of those kids out there playing soccer could have got shot. Why is it okay to have that? Like President Trump tells a story about the guy, he said, oh, we didn't have any murders this weekend. And the world leader he was talking, like, what are you talking about? You're celebrating because nobody got killed? And then he realized that, yeah, that's pretty bad, isn't it? Yeah! You're celebrating the fact that nobody got killed this weekend. Whew. Unbelievable.
One violent crime is too many, and we have more work to do. But we have made important progress on safety that Trump is now jeopardizing. Just during the last week, I've been in neighborhoods across Chicago, from Bronzeville to South Shore to Chatham to Little Village. The president's absurd characterizations do not match what is happening on the ground here. He has no idea what he's talking about. There is no emergency that warrants deployment of troops.
That's scary. That is downright terrifying. 58 people were shot this weekend. 8 were killed. It was about around that number 2 weeks ago. And he doesn't declare that an emergency. That's just life as usual in Chicago. What would you consider emergency? What number of people shot would you like, wow, that's pretty bad. We need some help over here. When does it go? When do the bells go off in your office? Hey, ooh, that's 60? 65? 70? What level of people getting shot makes it an emergency designation for you? I've been driving around. It ain't that bad. You think the people in those neighborhoods think the same thing? Hey, man, let me know when we get to like 90. Then I'll have to like pay attention. That's insulting. He just told everybody it ain't that bad. Wow.
He is insulting the people of Chicago by calling our home a hellhole. And anyone who takes his word at face value is insulting Chicagoans, too. Crime is a reality that we all take seriously, me especially. I've held the hands of grieving mothers who have lost their kids to gun violence. I've been in consistent contact with law enforcement and managed our state through some of its toughest moments. That has informed our comprehensive, evidence-based approach to crime, hiring more police officers and giving them more funding, gun and drug and gang interdiction, investing in community violence intervention.
What the hell does that mean? Same thing the other lady has said. You know, what is crime intervention programs? Don't do it, boys. You don't need to be shooting each other. Okay, get on your way. I'm still waiting for him to say, what's the purpose of this whining? What exactly are you trying to get to? Is there a finality here? Is there some action you're going to take? Or are you just going to stand up here and basically bitch and whine about Trump's coming? That's what it is so far. Trump's coming. Trump's coming. And I don't know what to do.
Mental health supports, more substance use treatment. Those programs have shown real progress. Then you know what happened? Donald Trump and his Republican allies in Congress cut those programs because they are unserious people who seem to know nothing about fighting crime. We are ready to...
Everybody in that room, and none of you went, wait a second. We just watched what he did in 12 days. He knows nothing about fighting crime. It just came off the paper he was reading, and nobody went, wait. We just watched him clean up Washington, D.C. The entire country saw him clean up Washington, D.C., and you just said he knows nothing about fighting crime. How do those words come out of your mouth and make any sense? Do you realize the person who typed that script just made you look like a complete buffoon?
Fight troop deployments in court. And we will do everything possible to ensure that agents operating inside the confines of this state do so in a legal and ethical manner. To Chicagoans, what you can do is look out for your communities and your neighbors. Know your rights. Film things that you see happening in your neighborhoods and your streets and share them with the news media. Authoritarians thrive on your silence.
I would love for people to begin flooding the media with, look at Ray just got shot. How about they flood that in the media? Hey, this is number 12. This is number 15. You want that in the media? Probably not. You probably get these people to take it down. It's ridiculous. Absolutely. You got to show it. Show everybody what they're doing. We don't care. We voted for this. It's too late.
Be loud for America. To everyone listening, but most especially to the press, I refuse to pretend that any of this is normal. I refuse to concede that the abject cruelty that we're seeing play out with the execution of Trump and Stephen Miller's policies are okay or justified. I refuse to fall into the pundit trap that demands we sacrifice vital constitutional rights if it's being done in the fake guise of fighting crime.
Maybe you should be talking, don't use the word sacrifice right now. Not after you just had 58 people shot and 8 people die. Yeah, this is probably the most, this speech probably, he gives it into a mirror where he looks like Clark Kent. You know, you look at yourself in the mirror and you think, I don't need to lose any weight. My cheeks aren't chubby. Yeah, you're delusional. And I keep seeing people in here saying, I can't take this. No, you need to eyes wide open and see this is your enemy speaking. These are the people who want to do you harm. These are the people who want to take away your way of life. And people are being nonchalant and like, I don't want to hear this anymore. Seriously?
Because, as I said 6 months ago in my State of the State address, any rational person who has spent even the most minimal amount of time studying human history has to ask themselves on one important question. Once they get the citizens of this nation comfortable with the current atrocities committed under the color of law, what comes next?
I don't know. I don't think he's going to make us take jabs or lose our jobs. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's not going to make us take jabs or you can't go to church. I bet he won't say you can't see your loved ones as they're dying. I'm pretty sure you won't be, no one's going to stop you from going to the gym and work out. You know, the atrocities people already had to live under with you people. The atrocity, I can't even imagine the trauma of somebody having to hold a glass and wave goodbye to a loved one who was passing because you idiots wouldn't allow people to hug and be with them. So when you talk about atrocities, spare me. In fact, beyond spare me, kiss me where it doesn't shine. I cannot believe he came out and said that. And again, I keep saying it, it's like these people don't think you remember the last couple of years. It's like, wait a second, you know what you did to people? Willingly? filled in skate parks, went after people on paddle boards. Oh, you know what's out there in the water? Water. No. What's out there is the C word. There's nobody out here, bro. I'm just paddleboarding. I have to arrest you. So arresting for paddleboarding, okay. Arresting because you're not supposed to be in the country, ooh, that's bad. Don't talk to me about sacrifice.
Now I'd like to turn the podium over to the mayor of the city of Chicago, Brandon Johnson.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Governor. Good.
So this guy now is going to take the podium, excuse me, and do the exact same thing. It's going to read. I am going to read what exactly I have to say because we're not allowed to be actual humans. If you've been voted in to represent the people, you should be able to speak to the people authoritatively, authentically, without having to read a statement. I don't get it. I don't get how people aren't seeing this. I watch Ron DeSantis all the time when he goes live. Ron will look at his bullet points and go, yeah, by the way, and then when he starts getting questioned, he already knows these people can't talk. That tells you they're full of it.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, President Preckwinkle, the Lieutenant Governor Stratton for being here, and our Attorney General Raul, and to the members of the press. Today we stand here united as the state of Illinois, Cook County, and the city of Chicago to send a very clear message. We do not want or need military occupation in our city. We do not want or need militarized immigration enforcement in our city.
And there you have it. It's all about immigration. You don't care really about the crime. You already have a military occupation. You ain't doing nothing about that one. But don't mess with our newcomers.
We have been clear on that, and we will continue to take every single measure that we can to protect our people from these threats. However, I also want to be clear about this. There are measures that the federal government can take right now to help continue to drive down violence and crime in our city.
Yeah, I can tell you what's coming. Most of you know what's coming. Here's what you guys can do to help. Give us more money.
We need the federal government to stop the endless flow of guns into our state and into our city. Chicago police officers have taken more than 24,000 guns, illegal guns, off the streets of Chicago since I've taken office. Over 24,000 illegal guns taken off the streets of Chicago since I've been in office. They have worked hard every single day to make our city safer, and they've made historic progress. However, we will never be able to end gun violence in Chicago as long as the president continues to allow tens of thousands of guns to be trafficked into our state and our city.
Oh, it's Trump's fault. I forgot to tell you that. We'll never, his words, listen to his words that he's reading carefully. We will never be able to stop violence if Trump doesn't do something. Well, let me ask you, Mayor, if President Trump is sending in troops, as you say, to help you out, but you don't want that, but you want him because you'll never be able to stop it without him. I don't think they even know what they're reading. You just said that. We will never be able to stop the violence unless the federales do something about the guns. Okay, we're going to come in and do something about the guns. Oh, we don't want you here. Which way? I'm pretty sure when the federales come in, they're going to be able to see what's going on. So which one is it? You do need to help or you don't need to help?
The vast majority of guns do not come from Chicago. They are not made in Cook County. They are not bought in the state of Illinois. These guns come from red states. They are coming from...
It's not my fault, man. It's not my fault. Okay, let me ask you a question. With the state cops that you do have, You can't see a bunch of people riding in. They're coming across, the state lines from Indiana, the red state, and they're all coming in. What's up? What's up, man? Yeah, I got a whole box of. You don't stop people. You see Jimmy Boo coming across, and Jimmy Boo is one of the main people in the gang, but you're not stopping them yourself? There's a long way between the border and the inner city of Chicago. I know that if I knew who the players were, I could pretty much stop them from trafficking anything. I would just follow them. So why can't you determine who the players are? If you think the guns are coming from out of state, then why not just follow the trail? When you see a truck or a van or something pull up in the hood, why don't you just surveil the hood and wait till the van shows up? This ain't hard. A truck pulls up, a car pulls up, something's at the gas station, it goes around back to the body shop. Why aren't you watching?
Indiana. They are coming from Mississippi. They are coming from Louisiana. And that is the harsh reality, whether Republicans like it or not.
All right, so
occupying our city.
I can't show it to you on YouTube, but when we do the jump over, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something that the White House released tonight, and it was a drug interdiction from Tres Leches, and they had a Go Fast boat that was bringing in yayo. And when you see what they did to that boat, you would say, well, hey, bro, why don't you do the same thing? Why don't you surveil the people who are doing the bad stuff? Here, let me show you a training video. Oh, look, see that boat right there? Oh, yeah, they're coming in, and they got a whole bunch of yayo on the boat. Now, keep watching. Boom! Boat goes away. Problem solved. Why aren't you doing that? They just showed you how it's done. We knew these guys were some of the bad guys. We watched the bad guys load up the boat, and we watched the boat come up. When the boat got in our range, we just made the boat go away. So if you are for sure that the guns are coming from Mississippi, you blamed everybody, Indiana. If you know this, then how do you know it? Oh, so you seen them. Why didn't you stop them? I don't think there's anyone in the media who has any idea what they're talking about. Because that would be the first question. How do you know they're coming from out of state? Okay. Have you seen it? Yeah. Why didn't you freaking stop them? Huh? Oh, that's not on my paper.
Do nothing to solve this problem. No matter how much work we do or how hard we work, whether it's expanding our Detectives Bureau, investing in community violence intervention, and addressing the root causes of crime, none of it will ever be enough until the president decides to end the mass trafficking of guns in our city.
Okay. It will. You realize what you're saying? You are saying, you are waving a huge white flag, and I don't think he realizes he's saying it. If they sue, I would love to play this in court. Your Honor, this is the second or third time that they said straight into a camera, there's nothing we can do. The only way we can stop this is if the federal government interdicts, if they get involved. And I'm thinking to myself as I saw this, people aren't going to believe this tonight. There's a reason why I have to break in sometimes, let you guys hear. They've used superlatives. We will never. It's never going to stop. It's never going to get better unless the federal government does something. So you're admitting your incompetence. You're straight up. You just did it 2 or 3 times. And I'm thinking to myself, am I the only person hearing this? You are openly admitting on television it will never stop. There's nothing we can do unless Trump does it. But we're not going to call him. This making sense to you?
For every gun that the Chicago Police Department fights to get off the streets, 2 or 3 more new guns come into our city. Chicago will continue to have a violence problem as long as red states continue to have a gun problem.
4 times. There's nothing we can do. It will continue to be this way. I have never seen more inept leadership in all my life. Somebody saying, I'm completely nutless. There's nothing I can do. Oh, you give me $1 gazillion and I still can't stop it because, I don't know, my state police don't know how to work at my state border. I'm pretty sure if you started doing some stuff in Florida and came across the border, the staties and FDLE are going to have something to say about it. You might get through once or twice, but then they're going to be watching for you. And you're saying straight up, there's nothing we can do. Run, man. If you live in Chicago, run.
Shootings will continue as long as this presidential administration continues to put politics over people.
6 times. And when I was doing this, I'm like, people are not going to believe this. How many times do the people of Chicago need to hear, there's nothing we can do about it? Nothing. It's going to continue. He said it again. There's going to be 40 or 50 people more shot this weekend because there's nothing we can do without President Trump doing something. But we won't let him.
We have sued Glock over their semi-automatic guns that are easily converted into automatic weapons with switches. We have taken down gun stores in Indiana that illegally sell thousands of guns to traffickers who move them into Chicago. But whatever we shut down, and whenever we do this, another one pops up. The governor has worked extremely hard to strengthen our gun control laws across our state. And as much as we would like to, we cannot send officers across state lines to stop this problem at the source. We only have jurisdiction over our own city. The governor only has jurisdiction over our state lines. It is the role, and more importantly, the responsibility of the federal government and the president to stop the trafficking of weapons across state lines.
So if it's the president's job to stop the trafficking of weapons across state lines, is it not the job of the president to stop the trafficking of newcomers across state lines? I mean, you just said federal laws are being broken, and it can't stop unless the president does something about it. Well, what if the president decided that all the different interstate and tributaries of the rivers, they just put people there? And they started doing a checkpoint. I'm sure the Democrats would be okay with checkpoints, wouldn't they? No. Because you know what'll happen at these checkpoints? They'll also find newcomers. This guy's talking out of both sides of his butt.
For every shooting in Chicago, there is a gun trafficker in Mississippi making money. There is a gun trafficker in Louisiana profiting off of our pain. And this is a serious problem that has gone on for far too long, and it requires...
Oh my gosh, people must be stupid. I mean, you guys, Democrats complained about Epstein, right? Yeah. Many of us asked, how can Ghislaine Maxwell be in jail if none of the Johns have been arrested? Mr. Johnson, yeah. If I believe what you're saying, that the weapons are being trafficked into Chicago and Illinois, that's what you're saying, right? Yeah. Who are the people purchasing them? Have you heard that yet? Hey, we've gone after the people who are purchasing these trafficked weapons. Nope. The red states, it's your problem because people keep sending them in. Well, guess what? They're not sending them for free. Somewhere, somebody is paying for that contraband. Whether it be drugs or weapons or, unfortunately, children. Somebody is paying for it. You just said the words. You heard him say it. Profiting. Okay. Profit involves a transaction. Who's on the other side of that transaction, Brandon? The people in your hood. So if you know, and you've stated eloquently off reading many a times that you can't do anything because they're coming from red states. Well, they're not dropping them off with drones like it's Santa Claus. Somebody is paying for them. Who's paying for them? Where's the money? How's it happening? Because all of that's taking place where you are. If I got in a tractor trailer tonight and I drove a whole bunch of weapons across the border and I'm like, yeah, pay me. I'm the one doing it. I'm trafficking the weapons, but somebody got the briefcase? And so you don't have any idea who's purchasing them? This is a one-way transaction. Somebody just drives a trailer into Buc-ee's in Illinois and leaves the trailer and walks away, and you get all kinds of free guns? That's how stupid they expect people to be.
Serious solutions. We wrote a letter to President Biden after a mass shooting in Chicago 2 years ago, asking for more resources to stop gun violence in our city by deploying federal agents to hold these gun traffickers accountable. President Biden responded with more resources and stronger enforcement. And
did he just say he asked Biden? I'm pretty sure he just said we asked Biden. But we're not going to ask Trump anything. Nope, we're not going to ask Trump. But you just told us all that you went and basically capitulated to Biden. Please help us. But I will never do that with Trump. Gotcha.
That alone had a significant impact on gun violence in our city. We need President Trump to do the same. Instead of using militarized ICE agents to terrify our communities here in Chicago, instead of sending in Border Patrol to our city to detain mothers and fathers who have called Chicago their home for decades, working class people who pay their taxes and make our...
I'm sorry. Are they gangbangers? Oh, you're talking about newcomers. We can't have that. How about the 50 people who got shot? I'm not talking about them. We're talking about these nice people here who aren't supposed to be here.
Stronger. They should direct those resources to taking down gun traffickers so that we can finally put a stop to the violence. If the Chicago Police Department had a fighting chance, we could end gun violence in Chicago. But as long as this president allows hundreds of thousands of guns to come into our city, we will always be fighting an uphill battle. And so
hundreds of thousands are coming into our city. I'm not going to make light of it like you guys did, but there was 58 people shot last week. That's a far cry from hundreds of thousands. If you've got hundreds of thousands of illegal guns in your community, somebody's building an army you don't know. Hundreds of thousands. You don't have hundreds of thousands of gangbangers. I hope not. What in the hell are you talking about? Somebody printed up a really bad script for you, bro. Somebody wrote something that they expected they'd be home with popcorn laughing as you read this. Because people like me would be like, what in the hell are you talking about? Hundreds of thousands. Not even 100,000. Hundreds of thousands of guns. 200? 300? Hundreds of thousands. Oh my gosh. You expect people to believe this. Well, Barry, I'm talking over 20 years. All right, 50,000. I don't care. Tens of thousands of guns, and you got like, what, a couple hundred gangbangers? Where are the rest of them? They don't expect people to listen.
Call to the president and to his fellow Republicans who want to weaponize the tragedy of gun violence. The Republicans who want to use the pain of families who have lost loved ones to shootings and who want to use our city as a punching bag. Our response is that they should get their own house in order before they say anything about the city of Chicago.
I'm telling you, they didn't know that he was going to read this or something. He should get his own house in order. You mean Washington, D.C.? We cleaned up in 10, 12 days? Who Muriel Bowser's now like, it worked. That house? What house you talking about? Can't be Mar-a-Lago. Idiots.
We have done tremendous work with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF in Chicago. On August 4th, ATF worked with the Chicago Police Department to take 171 guns off the streets in just one action.
Well, that means you're only, 499,999 short, right? Because there's hundreds of thousands of them up there. The whole 171 sounding really putrid right now. Sounds like you don't have no idea what you're doing. 171? There's 499,999 left.
64 machine gun switches. These are devices that turn guns into automatic weapons. And they are almost always found on the scene of mass shootings in our city. These guns are linked to shootings and homicides in Chicago going all the way back to 2017, including the killing of a 14-year-old boy. So my question is, why did Trump cut $468 million from ATF's budget in his nasty signature bill? Why did he cut funding for the agency responsible for getting guns off our streets by almost 30%? Why did he cut 1,465 positions from an agency that is so critical to reducing gun violence?
These guys got nothing. Because I'm sure he would tell you, we don't need it. Why are you worried about what the federal government is doing? You're not, both of them, they've spoke for nearly 45 minutes, and neither one of them is mentioning what happened the last couple weekends. It's all Trump, 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 Trump. That's it. That's their defense right now. It's Trump, and he's done this, and he's done that, and he's a big boogeyman. It's not going to help you. Not going to help you when they come.
They cut funding from the agency that is actually stopping gun traffickers so they could increase funding for ICE and Border Patrol. I'm going to repeat that again so that it sinks in. Trump gutted the agency that actually catches gun traffickers just so that he could hand money to ICE and Border Patrol.
Okay, now we know for sure. I think you guys get the point here. It's all about the newcomers. They have done everything they possibly can to protect these people. And now they're seeing it just fall apart in front of them. I want to show you something. I mean, well, you've seen it. But at the bottom here, I actually meant what I said. I hope people realize what these governors and mayors are doing. These politicians aren't protecting Americans. They're protecting the deep state machine. They are watching their power in these neighborhoods through the hands of these crooks completely fall apart. They don't know how to act. They don't know what to do. They need to blame somebody, but they won't face the fact that 58 people got shot and 8 people died in Chicago this past Labor Day weekend. It's somebody else's fault. They're protecting the newcomers. They're mad because he's put money into ICE. They know what's coming. I really am convinced that this deep state machine relies on having all of these ghost people. All of them. They know they can't win elections without the ghost people. And it's freaking them out.
The president doesn't care about gun violence. He just wants his own secret police force that will do publicity stunts whenever his poll numbers are sinking. Whenever his job...
That's rich. That's real rich. You know what this guy's poll numbers are? 5. You can count it on one hand. His poll rating is 5. Maybe it's up to 6 this week. He is the lowest polling politician ever. 5. Nobody wants you, bro. Nobody likes you. And you know why? They can see right through your BS.
Report shows a stagnating economy whenever he needs another distraction from his failures. That's what this is about. The Trump administration continues to try to use the real pain and loss of gun violence victims as a pretext for expanding his own power. Unfortunately, even some elected officials in our city and state have parroted these lies. But here's the truth. Donald Trump is the last.
So is everything else a lie? Here's the truth. Well, then we can forget everything you guys said before. Now you're going to tell us the truth. Okay, what's the truth?
Person in America who cares about families on the south and west side of Chicago. Those who are dealing with violence on a regular basis. He's the last person. The thought doesn't even cross his mind. If he did, he wouldn't have cut $800 million from violence prevention organizations.
Who are these organizations? Who are these NGOs that you're mad don't have the money to kick back anymore? If you listen to these people, they tell you what they're really pissed off about. The money train has stopped. No more USAID. No more of these NGOs getting money. It has stopped. And because it has stopped, the Democrat machine is having to run on 1.5 or 2 wheels. The other wheels have fallen off the little yellow bus. I don't mean anything about the little yellow bus that regular people have to ride. I'm talking about this bus of idiots who run the Democrat Party. They've run out of money. They've run out of power. His approval rating is in the complete toilet. Nobody cares what he has to say. The people in the community are pleading for safety, and he comes up and gives this kind of speech.
Funds that would have gone towards organizations on the south and west side who are on the front lines driving down gun violence. He wouldn't have cut $468 million from ATF. He wouldn't be sending ICE and border patrols to Chicago. He would be sending ATF agents to Mississippi. He would be sending these agents to Indiana. He's worried about the wrong border. We don't have an immigration crisis in Chicago. We have a gun.
Oh. I've never seen people so terrified in all my life. They don't know what's coming. They don't know what to do. They have no way to stop what's coming. No one, nothing can stop what is coming. You're watching 2 people who are living this horror flick of, there's nothing we can do, is there? Nope, not a thing. Except maybe get the people riled up and get the media riled up. But other than that, there's nothing you can do. I love it.
Crisis. And the president could care less about the real solutions. In closing, violence in Chicago is not because we have too many immigrants. It's because we have too many guns. So our message to Trump continues to be the same.
Violence in Chicago isn't because we have too many immigrants. I don't think anybody has a problem with immigrants. I'm pretty sure nobody has a problem. Oh, wait a minute. You left out the word that goes before that word. Nobody has any problem with legal immigrants. You see how he slipped that in there? Hoping you wouldn't notice, but it foretells their real concern. That's what they're worried about. It always is what they're worried about. They have exposed themselves for who they really are. And now you know why Biden just wide open left the border. They knew they would not survive as a party without having all of these people in their cities.
Stop posting truth socials. Stop making statements. Stop threatening to send troops or ICE. Stop defunding our communities. Just do your job and end the trafficking of guns into our city. And thank you. With that, we'll turn the podium over to the Cook County Board President, Tony Preckwinkle.
Yeah, no, we don't want to hear that. I think at this point you guys have heard enough from Mutt and Jeff here, who have no clue what they're going to do in this city. I've got our special guest in the house right now, so you guys can. I'm gonna take a break, and then we're gonna come back, and we're gonna do this interview. Okay, be right back.
Back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
I just wanted to make sure I saw SV hit me up. We have not done the jump over yet. This is still on YouTube, so don't have to. If you go, you go. If not, I'll see it. But this isn't the jump over. We are still going forward with our show. And with that being said, let me talk to you about Dr. I don't know if he's doctor, but Tom Kirsting. First, listen to this.
This is beyond hate. This is murder. It's one thing to hate somebody and then say bad words to them, but to go in with a gun and kill a bunch of innocent children, another level of psychosis. I think, Will, a big missing ingredient, we try to figure out what's going on here. If you look at statistics, back in the 1940s and 50s, for example, 90% of people in America believed in God. Millennials today, that number is only about 30%. And when you think of God, the word God, even if you're not a religious person, what does God represent? God represents good. It's just like darkness. Darkness isn't real. It's just the absence of light. So when we remove God from our society, we're removing that light and it's being replaced with darkness. That's how I look at this. Additionally, we know that young folks, to Buck's point with all the ideology, the sort of brainwashing, we know that young folks are spending 8 to 9 hours a day in an altered universe known as social media, where their minds are just being pummeled with all of this hate, this divisiveness, this vindictiveness, conditioned, marinating in this stuff. And this is an example of this to the extreme level, and we need to stop this. And where do we start? As I mentioned earlier in the segment, parents, we look at families, parents, we got to get our kids out of their bedrooms, out of the basements, off these devices, in our living rooms with us. That's the foundation. That's what we need to start doing as a society.
So I want to introduce you to Tom Kirsting, and this is his X profile, at Tom Kirsting. He's a licensed psychotherapist, speaker, educator, and best-selling author of Disconnected, How to Protect Your Kids from the Harmful Effects of Device Dependency. I've never heard of that said that way, but I can see what it means. Tom, are you here with me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you? Can you hear me?
Very good. So I played that piece because I wanted people to see that. And I had a question for you. Were you able to watch that his video and check out the stuff he put in his manifesto?
I see. Yeah, I researched some of it. I saw, quite a bit. I didn't really see the whole manifesto, but I AI'd it and got all the information about what was going on with this individual.
So I love what you said, that the absence of light. Are you finding in your work that this is something that we're having a problem with? These kids just don't have the light in their lives.
Without a doubt. So you've probably heard of ODD, oppositional defiant disorder. So oppositional defiant behavior is when a young kid is actively defiant to an authority figure, mainly the parent. And I've been seeing so much more of this, to the point where I'll get phone calls from parents of 12-year-old boys that are saying, my son is so angry, he spit at me, he's got 5 holes in the bedroom wall. And the common denominator in every one of those cases is that the parents either took the Xbox away or the smartphone away. And it's really that's the withdrawal. They're getting so much dopamine, and when that stimuli is removed, you have a withdrawal, and it manifests itself in those manners. Now, this person, I will guarantee you, the shooter and all these other shooters we're spending more time just absorbing all of this terrible, hate, anger. Everything's caught on video nowadays. Barry, there's a video camera on every corner and everybody's pocket. And the way the mind works, the more you are, whatever it is that you are exposed to over and over again, becomes a reality in your mind.
Right. So what can parents do?
Parents got to start parenting. It's when I give my lectures, I lecture all over the country on screen time, families, mental health. And the big thing that we're kind of overlooking is that when you hear, the word family, if you were to go into the encyclopedia, it's going to represent something like the Brady Bunch. But it's not like that anymore. It's more like, if you take a family of 4, it's like 4 individuals that just live under the same roof and are in different rooms on screens. There's no family. There's no togetherness like we used to have. We got to get back, like I said in that clip, we got to get back around in that family room and around that dinner table.
What has caused that fracture where, mom and dad sat at the table, you had to have dinner, to now, like you said, there's 4 different people under one roof?
Yeah, well, certainly times have changed. I mean, you have, 2 parents working nowadays, okay, which we didn't have in previous generations. But furthermore, we know that the average person, that's kids and adults included, are spending 8 to 9 hours a day in front of a screen, right? Wow. So it's like all of our attention is removed and sucked into this dark web, okay, including for the adults.
Yeah.
And as a result, if all of that time is spent somewhere else, where are you not spending time? You're not spending time actually parenting, which is sitting around having conversations, having dinner together, sharing stories, laughing, all those important things that are critically important for a child's mental health outcomes.
Is it too far gone at this point?
I never want to believe that. I never want to believe things are too far gone. I have been lecturing on this topic. I think probably the first. You see people coming out, experts with this and that. I started lecturing on the problems with screen time before it was a problem in 2009, and I haven't stopped since. And of course, it's morphed into more than that. So the message is definitely getting out there more and more. But it's really, we're fighting a big machine. It's called big tech, and all this stuff that they use, all these products have smart engineers. And it's designed to just trap us, to get our attention sucked in there. And we're missing out on what's really important, which is our own individual understanding of self, relationships, family, all the things that matter.
J.K. Rowling posted something today. I'm gonna talk about it tomorrow. But she says they have taken the reality out of language. When a boy can be called a girl and a man can get pregnant and this person and that all these different pronouns, they've taken the reality out of language. How much has that contributed to what we're seeing right now?
That's contributing largely to it, because the reality, you can alter any reality through messaging, through suggestion. It's like hypnotic. The more you hear something over and over and over again, repeated, your subconscious mind is literally going to actualize that.
Yeah,
and it's going to become reality. Like you see these media, you see these people on TV, like they can't even say, what is a woman? Well, a woman is what you choose to be. Like so we're defying biology. We're defying the rule of God.
And even beyond that, I mean, that's a big topic now. But it seems that the psychology of what they've tried to do to twist kids' minds it goes way deeper in terms of how they've begun using certain words and language, and how telling people, you're offending me, you're hurting my feelings, and so certain words have been taken away from us. I want you to listen to this and give me your opinion on this.
Sort of target words and safe zones. People don't want to hear anything, a word that they don't like.
How arrogant are you to think that you deserve to go through life with no one ever saying anything that you don't agree with or like?
I grew up, and I was a chubby kid when I grew up, and there were obviously people who called me fat. There were people who wore glasses, and they were called four eyes. And kids are brutal. Kids can be very brutal. They can call people ugly. They can call people all kinds of names. Hey, bow-legged. We all grew up as kids where somebody got picked on, but we didn't go say, not only stop saying it, but it can never be a part of your language anymore. How are we allowing these people to do that to kids?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I one thing that I have made a commitment to is that I tell people that I'm unoffendable. You cannot offend me. You can't make, I don't care what you say to me. And, kids that I see in my office, young kids, I tell them, whatever anybody says about you or thinks about you is none of your business. All right. So if you're getting offended, if somebody says something mean to you and you get offended, that means you're actually in agreement with what they're saying. So more importantly is what we need to teach kids, what I help kids and I help families do, is to develop a robust sense of self, a robust self-confidence. Because a person who truly knows self at a deeper level is unoffendable. They can understand that the comments directed from somebody else towards me don't have anything to do with me. It has to do with the vitriol that's thriving in that individual's mind. So why am I going to react? Why am I going to allow them to steal from me? Why am I going to get emotionally have an emotional reaction to something that's not even true from a person that I don't even know or like?
Yeah, and it's a learned behavior because you don't know that word is offensive until somebody tells you it's offensive. I remember growing up as a young boy, and if people said your mama this or your mama that, we took it as some sort of affront where this kid doesn't even know who my mother is, but I'm willing to get into a fight with him because I've been told that's an insult. I think they've learned from there and are now saying and telling these kids, everything is an insult. If you're feeling disrespected, go ahead and tear up the restaurant and do whatever you want. I think one of my biggest concerns is, can we put that genie back in the bottle? Because it's been going on for generations at this point, all the way back to the participation with the trophy. And now you've got entire people who just walk into a restaurant, if you look at them the wrong way, they're going to destroy the restaurant or get in a fight with a person at Walmart just because they don't like what you said. How do we put that genie back in the bottle for those people?
Yeah, I mean, those people that you're talking about, people that are just unhinged and beyond angry, right? It's almost like they're looking for something. So those are people that hate themselves, okay? They might not know that or even admit to that, but they hate themselves. You can't love yourself and have all of that negativity and violence circulating throughout your entire organism. You must hate yourself. And it's almost like you're trying to project that hatred towards others, right? Take away their pride. And as far as, you were using the word, respect. Okay. So if somebody says, first of all, why would I want that person to respect me? And why do I need their respect? I don't. The only respect I need is for myself and my wife and kids.
Right. But that's what they're doing. And I'm concerned. I'm asking these questions not from a how-to basis as much as they've gone through such indoctrination at this point, whether it's through grammar school and middle school and then, obviously in college. They've spent decades, say 10, 12 years of being told this is what you should know and how you should act. How do we fix that?
That's like the victim mentality. When it gets to the point of criminal behavior, people running into a restaurant, getting into fist fights, breaking things. How do we fix that? We put them in jail.
Well, what do you do when there aren't enough jail cells, and also when there people are doing all kinds of different things? Like, have you seen? Let me see if I can find this chart because I definitely wanted to talk to you about it because it's something that Elon Musk put up, and it was stunning to me. And it showed the amount of this one. Okay, let me show you this. How is this possible? Hopefully this works. Yes, it works. All right. So I'm looking at this chart, and this is the amount of people based upon generations. Traditionalists are old, baby boomers like me, Generation X, millennials, and Gen Z. How is this statistically real? How could there have been in 2020 this massive explosion in Gen Z and 20 and 22 where it just keeps going up, where they're aligning themselves with a certain ideology? from a psychological perspective, how is this possible?
So 2020, COVID, I talk a lot about, not about this specifically, but about in my most recent book, Raising Healthy Teenagers. Yeah, we've had this mental health epidemic prior to that, but COVID accelerated this. So essentially you take young kids, right? So you can remember young kids by nature are insecure. Adolescents, that's like the perfect definition. Insecurity, that's normal. That's the way you're supposed to be because you're kind of in limbo land. You're not a child anymore. You're not an adult. So you take this insecure being, now you make their bedroom, their classroom, and their playground, and they have this screen in front of them all day long. And then you have all AI and all these other chat rooms and stuff where you have a kid that's already lonely, maybe somewhat vulnerable, maybe shy. And now they're in these chat rooms with all these other people like LGBTQ or transgender people. And because their minds are so impressionable and because they're already vulnerable, it's like the perfect storm. It would make sense that age group that we're going to see those numbers escalate to that number to levels like that. Let me put it in another perspective to give you an idea of how powerful this mind is. There was a story a few years ago. There were a whole slew of. We still with each other?
Yeah, you're here. I'm here.
Okay. Because I lost you. I could see me. There was a whole slew.
Yeah, when you were talking, I just wanted to let people see you talk, so I just put a different window.
Yeah, so there was a whole slew of teenage girls that developed motor tics, and went to the doctor, and none of them had Tourette's syndrome. So doctors in the United States and some other countries came together because they had never seen anything like this before, and they found out what the common denominator was. All of those teenage girls were watching TikTok videos of people with Tourette's. It was a trending thing.
Oh my
and
gosh.
by seeing that over and over and over again constantly, their brain began to mimic those behaviors and exhibit these, involuntary tics. Wow. So think about the power of the mind. Now we take a kid and we got all this movement, this cult movement with transgender and LGBTQ and these vulnerable kids sitting in there stewing in this stuff. What do we expect is going to happen?
Wow. So their impressionable minds actually react physically.
Oh, yeah. Your physical body. Yeah, like you believe that? Like involuntary tics? Sure. Yeah. Anything physical is coming from the mental first.
Oh, that's scary.
So how do we fix it? Wouldn't it be nice if these kids were on their screens and they're being immersed in wholesome, powerful stuff that's healthy?
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy because that could also, now that you're saying that could be the same thing that's happening with video games that are causing some of these people some insensitivity to act out in real life and, go out there and start popping people at the same time. It's crazy. Scary.
Check this out real quick. We got a minute. So I talk about this. I forget which one of my books it is, but I give an example of violence. So when you look at World War I, I'm close to the numbers, what I'm about to say. I don't remember if they're exact. So in World War I, only 10% of combat shooters, soldiers in combat, were capable of shooting the enemy at point blank range.
Wow.
In Vietnam, 90% of those soldiers were capable. And they figured out what the difference was. The difference was that in World War II, during the training for battle, when they were using their weapons, they were shooting paper bullseye targets. In Vietnam, they were shooting human silhouettes. So that little bit of a difference, just going from paper targets to human silhouettes, made a person 80% more capable of taking somebody's life at point blank range in battle.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, before we go, I've got a question for you. I showed this earlier to some people, and I said I've got to talk to you about it tonight. What has happened with these college-age kids who now want to embrace communism? Listen to this.
Is that socialism would be a transitionary state between capitalism and communism, where the means of production are specifically owned by workers, not privately. The idea that any country now is anywhere near socialist, let alone communist, would simply be ridiculous and it wouldn't reflect theory whatsoever.
What is the definition of communism to you?
Stateless, moneyless class of society.
And you?
You see how fast she answers? And I've noticed that some of these kids, when they're confronted with something, it seems like they've memorized some sort of mantra that's been told to them. And you can see she's talking so fast that she just wants to spit stuff out without really understanding what she's saying. Is that something that they're doing or have done to these kids?
Yeah, I mean, they're essentially parroting information they've been hearing, and we know that on many college campuses, you have like 90% of the professors are very liberal,
Yeah.
anti this, anti that. So they're getting a lot of this, it's a form of indoctrination. It's not in every university. Like that young lady right there is a classic example of like a narcissistic, know-it-all Gen Zer. Okay. Where's her credit? Where's her credibility? She hasn't done anything.
Right.
She hasn't been out in the work world. She hasn't bought a house. She hasn't had a family. She doesn't understand capitalism. She's just parroting what she's heard. Somebody removed her from her house and said, all right, here you go. In your mindless society, go figure it out. What's she going to do then? She's going to expect the big brother government to take care of her and buy her a house and provide her with everything else. It's just the naivete from not really having any kind of a taste of the real world. Plus all of this, this whole progressive movement, which has literally left the Democratic Party in absolute shambles right now. They've gone way too to the left. They used to be more in the middle, and they've got a problem right now.
Can we fix it? Can we help people like that girl and even younger kids who are just losing it? I mean, you can tell, listen to her. There was another guy he interviewed yesterday, and the guy just sat there, felt so, like you said, narcissistic. He said, I'll hire you right now. And the guy goes, you're going to pay me a living wage? And I'm like, dude, he admitted on screen that he'd been turned down 400 times. And it's almost like he felt he was in control of the situation. How is that a fixable thing?
Yeah, well, that a slap in the face from the real world. Like sorry, son, you're not the kind of person we want to hire here. But part of that too with the young generation, and it's not so much their fault. I have 2 college-age kids myself. Thank God they got good heads on their shoulders. They have grown up in the hit a button world of instant gratification. You get what you want. You want something to eat, bang. Here's DoorDash right at your door. You want to buy something, Amazon will deliver it that day. And this instant gratification has fostered a mindset of like, hey, I just graduated college. I should be the president of this company right now, making $1 million a year, right? and it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. There's a path. There's a path forward. You got to earn it.
Last question, and this is directly for the people who are watching right now. If they have a child who has that kind of, I've actually seen people in the chat say my kids won't talk to me anymore. I have such a disconnect because they've been told something and they don't believe the ideology of their parents. What can you do as a parent? What would you advise these people as a parent on how to reach their own kids at this point?
Yeah, and that's the sad problem that a young child that thinks differently than their parent is willing to take it to the point where that parent who has done everything for them is so quick to just cut the cord and not and disregard their own parents. It kind of disgusts me. The only thing we could do as parents is we can't just go in there and agree with them and say, all right, I agree. I think this is normal. But we just got to sometimes zip it up and look at the big picture. What's more important? Having a relationship with my child. We may not be able to save them from going down that cliff. But that's the decision that they made. And, maybe they'll feel the consequences of that down the road and then shift. It was kind of like, I think it was Winston Churchill who said, like, if you're in your 20s and you're not a liberal, you have no heart. And if you're in your 40s and you're not a conservative, you have no brain.
You have no brain. Yes, I've heard that. Very, very good statement. Well, thank you very, very much. I never get a chance to talk to people who listen to the mind and things of that nature. So Tom, thank you very, very much. And again, they can see your handle right there. Do you have a book or anything people might be able to check out?
Yeah, I got two very popular books. Disconnected. Had the one you showed earlier, Disconnected, How to Protect Your Kids from the Harmful Effects of Device Dependency. And the most recent one is called Raising Healthy Teenagers. And you can just go to Amazon, Google my name, Google those titles, or Barnes & Noble, anywhere books are sold.
Last question. People laugh at me because I always do that because something else pops in my head. We're getting ready after we're done here. We're going to be showing a movie. And the movie is about what's been happening with children. It's the movie Sound of Freedom. As people are watching this movie, is there any advice so that they don't get so wrapped up and so upset? I even had some people like, I gotta leave. I can't watch it again. How do people consume it, but yet stay far enough away where they know this is something we need to work on, but not get completely, consumed mentally with it?
Now, I'm not familiar with the movie. What is it?
Sound of Freedom. It's a movie about child trafficking. and it's with Jim Caviezel, and they go in and they rescue kids that have been, unbelievable things have happened to them. And so, some people sometimes feel it's very, very hard to look at, even though it's on film, the reality of what you're watching can be too much for some people.
Yeah, everybody's a little bit different. Like, my daughter and I love horror movies, right? And I think the difference is, my wife would never watch a horror movie. It's just that's how her mind works. I could tell, in a movie, I know this isn't actually real if I'm watching Terrifier 2. It's pretty gory. I could separate that. Now, if that was real, like, I don't know if I could personally actually watch something real like that in real life. So it really just depends on the individual. And if it is something that's too overly uncomfortable, there's no reason to really put yourself in that space.
Right.
Maybe do a different form of research about what's really going on out there,
right,
so that you could sleep at night, not have nightmares.
Right. Because the first time I saw it, I didn't have nightmares. I just bawled like a little baby. I mean, I just watched it and just started crying, and then I wanted to go out and hunt people.
Yeah, I know, right?
That was me. My wife's like, "No, you just have to calm down. I want to kill. I want to kill."
I want to go kill somebody.
Tom, thank you very much.
Right, thank you, Barry. Appreciate it, buddy.
Bye bye. And I'm being honest. When you see this movie, I really did feel like, you know what? I just need to get some boys up in a truck somewhere and let's go take care of business. All right, so let me do super chats, and then once I'm done with super chats, we'll go over and do the movie. And again, like Tom said, if it's not something you can't take, don't put yourself through it. And I'm telling you, it's really rough. It'll probably make you cry, which just says you're basically human. But it's really, with what you see, it's really rough. Let me just say this: you're not going to see any actual stuff happening that way, but you're going to get the innuendo about what's going on. So don't worry about it being graphic. You're not going to see that. I would never do that to anybody. All right, so let's go and do super chats and then jump over. Barry and Fanfare family. Okay, hold on. Let me put up the link so if anybody wants to jump over and watch the movie. Tonight's movie, just to let you guys know, it's 2 hours, right about 2 hours. So we jump over at 9, you'll be done at 11. And if you can't stay, you can watch the replay over on Rumble. Barry and family, thank you for your prayers. Just recently bought a home for my son and I. We're truly blessed and love learning from you. Wow. Let me get some of that. Congratulations. Prince and John have to be on the take. Greed is the only thing that would cause someone to turn their backs on the people of Chicago. Exactly. Tilly, hey, Barry, Robin, hugs to all. To you as well. Barry again. Will Smith again. Barry, do you think POTUS could get Pritz for inciting a riot or violence against POTUS coming to Chicago? It's very hard to prove. Very hard to prove. Judy, thanks, Barry. God bless. Metalhead, Barry, they are protecting the newcomers. They are indeed. Let's go hog wild. Thank you, President Trump. Why are we wasting our time going to each city? Why don't we go into each city that has a problem and clean it? The left will not allow what to do. Will he do it? Probably not. It's a pipe dream. Got to do something. Can't give up. Gwen, Mayor of Chicago, reminds me of the Sleesacks from the 70s TV show Land of the Lost. Captain Danny Barrow, boots on the ground nationwide now. I'm down with that. Just another knucklehead. The morbidly obese guy says someone else can't control their impulses. I didn't even think of it that way. Starfleet. Chicago seems to settle for people being shot and killed because of their gangster history. Al Capone, Dillinger, etc. Nikki. Trump is unserious? Yeah, that's what Iran thought. Good luck with that. Redeemed Patriot. They want the shootings. Americans have to pick up the bill. The more medical bills, the more money to siphon from the taxpayers. Interesting. Deanne Hobbs, my gun is a Democrat. I just asked it. Dave Raton. So he's blaming every president since the gun ban took effect. How many years ago? Yeah, for decades. Yep, they're just pointing fingers. Trumpinator. Who does the shooting, the shooter or the gun? Good point. Dave Raton again. Brandon, you're fired. He should be. 5%. They don't like him. Beverly Litton. Pricksters laying the groundwork to incite violence again. I believe that. I believe that's what they have to have. Suzanne Brooke, Barry, you made your point. We have learned from you in the last 2 years. I think like you, but I hate listening to these pigs. I hear you. Elizabeth Rancourt, Chicago only wants the government money because they can't launder the military help. It's all about money. Money, money, money. It's Penny Quarter. It's about gun control, our Second Amendment, punishment of law-abiding citizens, protect the newcomers. Yep, and the gangbangers. Buddy Sanders. Where'd that go? But law-abiding citizens of Chicago aren't allowed to have a firearm. Exactly. Cat Family Life, recommend song, Hi Ren. Might have to look that up, Hi Ren. Rose, thank you. Tony, thank you. Danny Robinson, thank you. Just thank you. Thank you. And Beverly again, when America stops believing in one nation under God, it will soon be a nation gone under. I completely agree. All right, so I'm going to do the jump over now, just to let you guys know. Right on time. And I got an amazing song, just one song, which relates specifically to the movie. And I think the guy singing this song is going to be on the show tomorrow. I have to confirm with Ashley, but I think he'll be on tomorrow, if not the next day. So let's go ahead and run the break again, and then we'll be on Rumble.